What's going on, my little silly Sunday motherfuckers? Oh look, I guess to basically wrap up Sunday night, West Coast, obviously Sunday night, East Coast, it's already in the morning, so you guys probably see it for a pre-market. Let's play. Look, I've already done basically all the kind of analysis I can make on this play in order to make it a worthwhile investment for me. So I'm solid on the fact that I know this is gonna run. I know we're getting closer because obviously I've pointed out certain things, whatever. So on my side, I'm solid. That's because this unnatural act of investing, if you want to call it investing, gambling, betting, whatever you want to do, it's natural for me now. So I wanted to do something for you guys now that's probably going to be more helpful than lines, charts, breaking news, this filing, whatever. Because I believe that at the end of the day, this is the talk nobody's had with you. And it's something that may help you because, see, I could look back to when there was a time when I was very much like all of you. Before I was jaded and came into the dark side. But there was a time when the idea of people putting money into these plays, these stocks, these investments and bonds, whatever, and making money was unnatural to me. The way it is to you guys. Because I was raised just like you guys. You know, the idea of like, you go to school, you get your education, you get your skill, you get your job, you save money, you work hard, you take a mortgage, all that other stuff, whatever. So that was the natural progression of life. And then here I met these motherfuckers that were using money in order to make money. They were not earning money. These people were looking at things totally different. If they took out a loan, it was to make more money. It wasn't to live a life they couldn't afford and they financed it. So it was a totally different type of way of thinking. And out of that program that they sent a bunch of us down to the, the firm, because it was like at risk, trouble, teens, whatever, that had a certain aptitude, scoring, they sent them down there. Trust me, some of the other kids I was with, they sent them to construction sites, all that fucking stuff. They did that with Benny, so trust me, they let that motherfucker loose on a couple of New York City skyscrapers. So if an elevator all of a sudden falls out or something, but reaching here is gonna be a long one. Back then, it was a very big contradiction. Here I see guys, there was no women back then. It was a totally different, weird world. Sometimes it's really weird, everything. When I went down to Morgan, 2 seconds, it's gonna be sound effects. Now this paid sponsorship. Anyway. When I went down to Morgan, it was been a while since I was back down in the street, and some of the things I saw down there was kind of weird. Like, no joke, like the old Morgan building that I used to go to, wreak havoc, steal cups, raid fucking refrigerators, do all kinds of crazy shit, Dodge security, NYPD, everything. The building was gone. They vaporized it. And now Morgan was across the street and split into 2 locations. And the guy we met with, good kid, but he didn't fit the profile of the kind of guys I grew up with in the street. He just didn't. He was a clean cut, decent looking motherfucker. The kind of motherfucker you want as a neighbor. We didn't have that shit. When I came up, the kind of guy that we were with, these disgruntled motherfuckers, they were the kind of guys that would take like an assault rifle to like Costco's. You'll never take my turkeys again. So anyway, reason I'm saying that is because I remember a time, a different world. But me back then, like I said, I was pretty much like you guys. And I found myself in a situation where my old world was colliding with my new world, which is what's happening to you people. Not for long, but for now it is. See, when I used to come back to my old world, my neighborhood, my friends, whatever, and I used to hear my friends talk about their jobs, their salaries, overtime, bonuses, promotions. It was in conflict with what I was hearing downtown, where guys were basically getting into positions in order to like elevate themselves beyond reality. Definitely back then for me it was beyond reality, because back then a good salary for a working class guy was, let's say, 35, 40,000 a year. What do you do when you see a guy make that in a day? You understand? It was like a totally different world. So on one side, I couldn't really talk to anybody about it because, for one, it was one of those, get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. And on the other side, yeah, they're rich, they're evil, they're this, they're that. And I'm just like, no, that's not really the case, especially the guy I used to work with. He was one of those silent, I'm not even gonna call him a philanthropist. He was a fucking stellar human being. Just the things that he did, like, if I could only be a fraction of what he was, like, he would like help humans. Like, he would find a human and help that human and move on and help another human. He was a fucking incredible guy. And when was he rich? Oh yeah. I remember one time, it's kind of funny. There was a couple of clubs in New York that, they're less now, but there used to be a lot of like the elitist private clubs back then where they used to go to. Whenever he used to walk in, people always wanted to have a conversation with him, just because he was that guy that knew things. And trust me, this motherfucker was well to do. You didn't look it. He didn't look at it at all. Trust me. If you saw him on any day, you would think he was driving a cab for work. And what he ate for lunch, cab drivers ate better than him. Sound effects. Anyway. The reason I'm telling you guys this is because as the street got more advanced, you started having people that are like, well, they call them now performance coaches, just to kind of help people stay on track and stay focused on what they're doing. Just because, people got to go to work, they got to get the game face on, there's a lot of money, they got to get their head in the game. And a person's one way when they come out of like school, whatever, they're hungry, but at a certain point, and they're working on their second divorce and the attorney's trying to serve them and they're fighting with their fucking kids or whatever may happen, it's kind of hard to keep the eye on the prize because you're already wealthy. So they bring in these people to coach them up. You guys don't have that. And I'm not saying that I'm that, but that being said, I tell you I've trained fighters. And I know for a fact that training a fighter and training somebody to do a certain skill set very well, pretty much the same type of thing, because there's certain fundamentals that happen along the way. The number one thing is getting used to or accepting feeling awkward or or strange. And I'll give you an example, and you'll know what I'm talking about. You see what you guys just did with this play? It doesn't matter which play you're in. If you're watching this channel, chances are you're actually in a play. AMC, GameStop, Sundial Calls, BlackBerry, Virgin Galactic. It doesn't fucking matter if you're investing in a fucking old lady race in the park. I'm not gonna get into that, but nonetheless. But you're doing something that's unnatural. Something that doesn't feel right because it's outside of the mode of getting the job, earning the paycheck, paying the bills, taking the mortgage, managing your credit cards, yada yada, good credit score, whatever. This is totally different. This is you did something completely unorthodox in order to get a result that is not normal in society. It's just like I train fighters. I remember when I had to learn something. It was my biggest challenge ever in fighting. And anybody that's ever fought can tell you 100%, this is one of the biggest challenges. Learning how to move within a fight. Because everything has to be done in angles and opposites. So if you want to get to a guy's right side to work on him, well, you're going to have to do an extra movement in order to get to that side. Because before you get to that side, you have to get into position to get into that side. So the idea would be, I would step right at an angle in order to come at him to his, at my left, his right. So the idea is I had to train my brain not to just pick up my foot and just move, because that's how you get nailed. So I had to learn how to step off, how to be the opposite, how to push off different angles. That was a hard thing. And it's one of these things that once you learn it, you see fighters, they have that movement in their head, because what they're doing, like a metrodome, they're inside, they're moving the options that they have in order to move, explode, move, explode. That's what happens with investing. You guys, yeah, I'm good with the head. You guys were looking for an opportunity to make money in life. Follow the head, follow the head, follow the head. And then all of a sudden something appeared. The same way that I look to see if a fighter is tired, injured, protecting a body area, or if he's just getting sloppy. We're still moving the head. And then when the opportunity happened, we did what? We did something that is technically against the way we're pre-wired as humans. We did the unorthodox, uncomfortable thing of investing into a play. So you're losing money now. You're giving money up. Doesn't that sound strange? Wait a minute, but everything I do is to get money. I do a job, it's to get money. I go to school, it's to get a degree, to get money. I sign up for more credit cards, it's in order to get money. Everything is to get. Do you understand? I want to get to this guy. I want to attack him. I want to angle him. I want to attack him on my left. Guess what? I got to move forward, right, and then I got to push off and attack him from my left. That feels strange. That feels unnatural. And trust me, the first times that you do it, you feel super vulnerable. And chances are you get caught a couple of times because your timing wasn't there. Do you understand? Measuring time, distance, how fast could I move? What is he gonna react? You know, am I gonna have to also, slip a punch as I'm going in? Same thing, market conditions. Did I invest this money at a time when it was already gonna angle down? Is this a play that's actually gonna pan out? You go through all these things. That feeling, while it's unnatural, because you're in this world now, I can tell you it's natural. That's why for me now, you know, when I look at investments, it feels now not natural if I'm not losing or giving up in order to gain, because now my brain is different. I know that for whatever gain I want, I have to give up. So like you're a business owner, you know how much time you give up to your business before you see the returns. While somebody can take a job and 2 weeks later he gets his first paycheck. He didn't have to build the company in order to get the paycheck. So that's a natural feeling for him. When you're starting a business, you're the one struggling there. And then eventually it pays off for you. People don't see that. You understand? They don't see that time of hardship when you're by yourself. Just like, you know, going back to me when I was younger, you know, having to be by myself in the park 4 something in the morning, working angles. There was nobody in front of me. There was nobody telling me I had to do that. Something I had to do. Why? Because I wanted to be able to be ready to get into position when the opportunity struck. Listen, sometimes people tell me all the time, like, you know, is this gonna happen? Is this gonna be whatever? This is investing. You try to do all the like you guys said, all the research you can in order to make a decision. Then at a certain point, you gotta go. I could look at a fighter and I could take a look at, one, is he heavy on his feet? Is he still on his toes? Is he looking to, you know, to switch up on me? So this way, whatever thing I'm gonna do, is he gonna counter it? You can do a lot of this stuff. And let me tell you something. At a certain point, we're past that. You gotta make that move. You guys are past that. You made this move. And I know that people around you probably don't understand. You probably got family and friends and co-workers and spouses kind of telling you all this craziness. You know, this will never happen. This will never squeeze, whatever. All I can tell you is this. It's like people in the crowd chanting. I remember yelling, cheering when I was getting freaking blows landed on me. When the guy was on the ground, because I took the beating to get inside to work my angle, they didn't understand what I was doing. But when I vaporized this motherfucker and he was on the ground, I knew what I was doing. And that's the only thing that matters. So the people in the crowd, they're insignificant. I was there to fight this human being. I matched strategies, obviously for a payday. It's only you. You understand? It's only you. It's all the people around you. And you may love them. They may love you. But do not ever think that investing is a team sport. You're by yourself in this. And like in fighting, you can have your coach, which is the guy that's teaching you a lot of the strategy. You can have your trainer, the guy that's getting you fit for that fight. Okay? You can have your corner people making sure. And when you go back to your corner, you got a chair to sit on and breathe and catch your heart and get rubbed down with a pack of ice and stop the bleeding, all kinds of stuff, and open up your nose passages and everything. But don't fool yourself. When that bell rings, everybody gets off the corner and you're by yourself again, facing punishment. But remember something. Once you're in front of your adversary, which is right now your play, you have to understand something. Just because people aren't encouraging, patting on the back, standing with you, that doesn't mean you did something wrong. That just means that you decided to do something unlike everybody else. You decided to pull away from the pack. And those are the people that get rewarded. Just like I said, the guys that I was with. Yeah, and the guys that I was with, they were not no fucking Ivy League people. Like, these were motherfuckers that were like, they came across my guy took them in, he polished them off, he trained them, and he put them to work. You know, later on, we have a lot of these guys that came to the street, just like in Silicon Valley. They were highly educated from the best schools, Stanford, everything. But the original team, they're a bunch of reject, degenerate, fucking wild people. But guess what? They were trained properly, they were put in the direction, and they did what they had to do. So you guys are done. I think I could tell you, because I've done this for a long time. You guys are in a solid position. The casualties are mounting on the other side. Don't worry about the devil. The devil and the government, they got a battle going on. Okay? Yeah, should the market maker do all that stuff he's doing? No, of course not. Like I said, this is, if we were just battling a billionaire, this would be different. But we're battling a market maker, his market, obviously, and he's in the play. But remember something. In the end, I just want to tell you, while you may feel this is like, I don't know, you feel crazy and that, you're doing good. You're still there. You're still in the fight. We are still in the fight. I'm still in the fight. You know, you think, listen, once the bell rings, what are you going to do? You going to quit? You can't quit no more. This is it. You know, you can quit maybe when the bell hits again and you go to the corner and you fucking tap out. But overall, in the middle of the fight, you don't want to quit in the middle of the fucking fight. You're in the middle of this fight. You're in the middle of this fight. And this unnatural feeling that you have, once you make your money, it ain't going to be unnatural anymore. Just like when you knock a motherfucker out and he's on the ground, you're like, in your brain, is working. So understand it. It's only unnatural until you start to accept this new thought process, and it starts challenging your old thought process. I can tell you one thing: you're never going to look at a paycheck the same way again. You're going to go through different feelings moving forward, because people around you, everybody's going to pat you on the back. Oh my God, it's so incredible. He was so lucky, yeah. But they don't remember this nonsense. You understand? They don't know that stuff. You do, and that's what's going to change you. You're changing now, but you're still stuck in feeling, did I do the right thing? Did I do the right thing? Did I do the right thing? Trust me, you get punched in the fucking head a couple of times, you start to say the same thing. But once you have that moment, that's when things change. That changes forever. So you're not technically just fighting for this play. This is your whole life. You are reprogramming your brain to be different. This is your whole life. And if you got kids, if you got a spouse, you are fighting for them. So you need to push past all these feelings, because remember, I was never for that 500 to the moon. We're going to make money. Oh, we're going to make money. But at the same time, just understand something. This is why I was like, you know, you guys had to like learn this game, like learn how to fight. Now you're learning how to think. This is how the other side doesn't harm you. You know, I faced one guy before we started fighting. He was screaming into the crowd, I'm gonna kill him, I'm gonna fuck him up, I'm gonna this, you're gonna see. He's telling the crowd all this, he's telling the crowd. He didn't get the memo. He wasn't fighting the crowd, he was gonna fight me. And whatever the fuck he was saying, it didn't mean nothing. I came there to get money, and it meant going through this motherfucker. So this big mouth at the end of the day, I remember him talking all the time. He ain't hurting me, he ain't hurting, you know. Trust me, I was hurting this motherfucker. But his defense was saying, he ain't hurt me, this ain't nothing, this whatever. And he would push off, push off. And it was funny because that persona, he ain't hurting me, he ain't hurting me. Well, there was a time when I started ripping into him like some unholy shit. The body, the body, the body, the head, the body, like literally like fucking to the point where I had to pack my fucking wrist in ice. And like, no joke, I could have been in Alaska and I would have ran out of ice. And in the massive onslaught that I gave him, I heard him cry out like a fucking little girl, stop. So, that other side, they're gonna cry out, stop. So, it's just coming. Doesn't matter how, doesn't matter what they make it look like. Trust me. They're bleeding inside. So, I hope this video helped. I hope that it'll help you understand more than the lines, the numbers, the technologies, the players, the governments, the rules, the regulations, the terminologies. Understand, we've hurt them. They're still fighting us. We are getting stronger. They are bleeding every month. They're getting weaker. What they need to survive in this fight is easy credit money, loose money, coronavirus stimulus money, that type of stuff. They don't have that. You understand? It's a different world. You have nervous investors into these funds now. And things are changing. Rules are changing. Okay? Even the SEC, whether you want to believe it or not, they're changing because they have to change. They have no choice. They have to change. They got to evolve. The market has trillions at their disposal and they're changing. So the SEC has to change also. Listen, we're doing good. That feeling that you have will come to an end. But always remember this little talk I had with you, because it goes much further than let's follow the line. Because this is something that I wish more people would have a chance to listen to this video, even outside of this play. I really wish they would teach this to kids all across America and in developing countries, because, you know, if you change your mind, you could change your path. That's as simple as that. So, giant love, motherfuckers, and then, talk to you soon.